Alright, how's it going everybody? So I'm going to show you guys how to set up the camera for a Sunday morning lineup that we usually do for worship and everything else. So to start off, you're going to need to have these two cases here. The Pelican one here is the one that has your camera in it. This one here has your stand, and your Manfrotto is going to be your stand. So we'll start actually needing the stand because that's going to be the most important piece. Alright, so first thing I always do, I lock this down in place so that way everything doesn't move. You'll have two locks that are on here. I take the bottom lock, pull the bars all the way down until it doesn't go any further than that. Then for all three of them here, and I just lock myself up again. There we go. Okay. There we go. Alright, so now, no, I didn't lock this one up. Make sure you lock all three of those, you're gonna have a little bit of a collision. Okay, this one here, it varies depending on your preference of what you wanna do. I myself set this up as high as I can, primarily because you want the camera to be above eye level so that when you look at it, your camera's here, your video camera that you look at is gonna be about right up here. So I keep it right at eye level, because when you sit down, you're also gonna need to see that. Okay, this little bubble piece is supposed to be for your centering. And what I do is I adjust the first belt, or the first knuckle, or whatever you want to call it, latch, to see if you can find the bubble in there. I'm not sure where it's at yet. But if I can find that, I can adjust it. Actually, no, it's on, it needs to be on my side. Bear with me 1 second, guys. I'll zoom in out a little bit. Pull it up here. But there's supposed to be a bubble you center in on. I adjust the top three, just to where it centers that up. And well, for now, we'll say this is centered at the moment, but just kind of look for it on this little piece here, the little bubble will go in the middle from the angle that you can see it in. All right, gotcha. So we have that there. And then the next thing you're gonna wanna have on the Pelican case here will be your camera. Right here, I wanna loosen this up a little bit because this right here pulls this little latch up here at the top, where you can loosen it so where you can slip your camera in. So what you'll do with this loosened up, and keep in mind that this handle here is the back side that the camera's always gonna be at. This is where you're gonna be controlling where your camera zooms in and out. So, I'm gonna pull this thing down here a little bit and pop that right in place. It's gonna lock in, and then you just twist this shut. And that way, your camera doesn't move anywhere. That's the main thing, because if you leave it loose, it will slip and you will have a heart attack. All right, so I'm gonna tighten this up a little bit because this is a little bit too, there we go. Okay, so actually I'll show that here. Whenever you're dealing with the movements, if you ever want to, this side's fine. Whenever you're wanting to keep this thing from going up and down, you can loosen this up to adjust right here. Loosen this up, allows you to move it up and down in various ways, which throughout the time that you're doing your videoing, you will probably have to do that occasionally. I do loosen it just enough to be able to move it myself. Like, with a little bit of resistance, so you're not making any extreme like up and down movements and jerking in place. For moving this left and right, I have this little knob right down here. You can tighten this up to keep it from moving as much. And then you can loosen it up a little bit to give it a little bit more fluid movement. I usually keep it just a little bit snug because that way you have enough room to move. Because the main thing is that you don't want this thing to be so loose that when you move it, it's gonna jerk you to the side. You wanna make sure that it keeps it nice and slow, a little fluid. A little bit of resistance is not a bad thing, okay? So that's what I have on those. Now for hooking this up, there are gonna be three things that you're gonna be plugging into this. The first one is this right here. This little plug up here. Let's see, where's the end of this thing at? Right here, thank you. This is gonna be what you use to control your zooming and stuff like that. So instead of doing it actually on the camera itself, you're gonna plug this thing in to the AUX. Let's see. What they have of that. Oh, remote right, sorry, the remote here at the top. Plug that in right there. That's all you need to do on this one. And then something else that came in the bag is gonna be power cable, which you'll plug this thing in, right? Keep out of the way of this thing. It's gonna be on that DC plug. All right, so you'll take this. All right. plug it in. Get it in there a little bit, there you go. And then depending on which side of the stage you're on, you'll either kind of set this to your left and down onto the stage, or on the right side onto the place that you're standing on. And then there'll be a wall plug in front of you for you to plug it into. So from that point, there's gonna be one other spot, and this is where I don't have the cable, but there is a little piece right here that is your SDI out. There's a cable that comes with that, that'll be there on Sunday morning. It's a similar look to this one. It's silver and it's got a little bit of a little place that you can rotate on. You'll plug that in, kind of twist it, tighten it. It plugs in, it's automatically plugged in usually in the mornings to wherever it needs to go next. So you don't have to worry about doing anything past just plugging that in there. But for setup part, everything is good there. When it comes to the editing portion, or the video actual like recording that we do on Sunday mornings, the main thing that I'm gonna emphasize on when it comes to working with this is to be open to communication, because there will be things that the video director is going to tell you that you may not see the same way. Be open to what they have to say because they have an idea. And if you have an idea, I usually recommend mentioning it before service starts when y'all discuss the game plan for the morning. So like when there's rehearsal, he'll have a game plan that's set. That'll be the time you want to mention an idea to see if you can integrate it in there. But overall, follow the instruction of your director because he has an idea of what's going on. And then when it comes to your moving the camera pieces, I'm gonna set this down here as if this is plugged in. There we go. All right, so when it comes to moving the camera, usually myself, you have your zoom pieces here that you work with. I usually I don't press really hard at the beginning of your pieces when you're actually moving around. I kind of ease it in until you see that it starts moving a little bit, and then go at the speed that you think is appropriate. You're never gonna do a jerk in and out really fast because you're gonna give somebody motion sickness, namely me. But that's you wanna just kind of ease it in there. The same thing with your movements. I usually just put just enough pressure for it to move in, kind of, relatively slow like that. Because the only time that you should ever have to move fast is when you're not being focused on the actual on the actual projector, like when your camera's not being shown. That's the time you wanna move fast and set up for your next shot. But that's the only time you should ever go fast. No one should ever see it when actually they're looking at it on the stage, like during a service kind of thing. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else past that. I'm trying to think if there's any ideas that you have during the service, wait until afterwards, unless it's something that is pressing that it might be a way to make something look better than it is at the moment. That is a fix. Don't let it be a recommendation for something to make it better in the middle of the sermon. Let it happen afterwards, because we can integrate it into the next idea when the producer looks at it again or goes over it again and everything else from there. But aside from that, that's about it. Like I said, it's nice, easy, it's fun, doesn't require a lot of communication. If you have questions, keep it short. Don't do anything else. There's one thing I do want to mention though. On this side here, there is a filter. Okay, this right here. In the event that you have the camera set up, make sure this little piece is showing at 1/4, because what happens is if you pick this up, it gets really, really bright. And if you bring this down, it gets really, really dark. And it's really hard to see at the very beginning of it. So make sure this is at 1/4. If any further adjustments need to be done for the brightness, this little knob right down here, you can adjust your brightness from that. And then if you ever need to make something blurry or more focused, these two pieces, this piece right here, not the inner ring, but the outer ring is what adjusts your focus. Okay, make it blurry or non-blurry kind of thing. All right? And then, of course, your power button will be right up here. So you'll just push this down on the green and then pop it over to the side for power. And then right before service starts, the last thing you're gonna wanna do, I'll bring this over here for you to see, is hit that button right there. And if you forget that this button is here, you got one right there on your little handle, so you can't miss it. You have two different chances you can hit it right. And that always happens right before we start worship. And then when service is over, you just hit that button again. That's all you have to do. Turn the camera off, and then back up and you're good to go. Good luck.